My name is Emily Falcon. My husband, John, and I are both remarried, but I don't have any children of my own, while he does. Even though they're his kids from a previous marriage, to me, who's childless, they're as dear as my own. Our son, Kyle, now 30, is at the age to bring home a fiancé. I'm thinking of getting married. That's what his girlfriend, Madison, 26, said when she came to formally introduce herself. I wanted to get along with her, being my stepson's partner and all. But my husband and son shattered that hope. Nice to meet you. Madison greeted me, but to that, my son said, You don't need to greet someone like her. What? Why would you say that to your mom? She's not my mom. What do you mean? She's just my dad's second wife. They got married when I was little, but I've never thought of her as my mom. What a shock. I married his father when Kyle was little, and ever since, he followed me around, calling me Mom, Mom, never wanting to leave my side. During his teenage years, he lashed out at me, but I endured it all because I thought of him as my son. It's so creepy how she acts like my mom, even though we're not related. Not related. Yeah, that's right. We don't share any blood. You've been pretending to be my mom all this time. Do you know how much I hated that? I was stunned. How could I have imagined being told such things during a marriage introduction? Surely, my husband would scold him, I thought. But then, shockingly. Well, Kyle's right. She was just convenient at the time, someone to take care of the house. That's all she was. But now, Madison's here. No need to bother with her anymore. You were putting up with me? Yeah. Had to keep you happy or you wouldn't cook. You were just a free housekeeper who'd work as long as I kept you in a good mood. That's awful. Really? You had no idea, huh? What did you think you were to us? Not a parent, but acting like one. Well, now that we have a daughter-in-law, we won't be troubled if you're not around. What do you mean by that? Oh, John, did you know? I'm the daughter of a company CEO. You think I'll do housework like a maid? That's a problem. Why not just keep her as your free maid like before? What? Is that so, Madison? You're the CEO's daughter? I had no idea. Well then, we'll just have her continue with the housework. Lucky for you, you won't be kicked out. Just don't act like a mother anymore. You're just a servant now. Oh, right. About the wedding guests, I heard you have a lot of relatives? Yeah. If it were a different time, our family would have been warriors. We've got a lot of relatives, over 100 for sure. I see. I was discussing with Kyle about cutting down my side's guest list. I don't want to make a big deal about being the CEO's daughter. So, we thought a simple wedding would be fine, but I heard you have politicians and such in your family. It sounds like it'll be grand even with fewer guests on my side. Politicians? Oh, right. It'll be quite the event. My father was impressed to hear about the politicians in your family. This wedding could be a big deal. Right. By the way, what will you do for work after getting married, Madison? I won't be working. You're not going to work? Well, working is for people who don't have money, right? Why should a CEO's daughter like me have to work? You're not thinking of making me work, are you? No, of course not. That's what I thought. We have a maid, so I can live just like before. A housewife isn't needed, right? I would have been careful around Emily, but she seems like a stranger anyway. I don't see any problems with that. Exactly. No need to worry about someone like her. But living in this house is a bit. It'd be better if it's remodeled. We'll get to that eventually. Let's just focus on the wedding for now. Right, so Emily will do all the housework, right? She's the maid, after all. Well, actually, I have my own job, so I can't do everything. What? A stranger, who's not even a mother, living in the house and not doing all the housework. Emily's just a part-time worker who talks big. Don't mind her. Huh. Well, okay. About the wedding, since you're a stranger, there's no obligation to invite you. Please don't attend. Of course. It's unthinkable for someone who's not a mother to attend. Right, right. Both my husband and son agreed that I shouldn't attend. What a situation. I endured everything, thinking he was my son. Well, I have my own plans now. Determined to make them regret, I decided not to attend the wedding. On the wedding day, as I saw the two of them off to the venue, I finished cleaning and enjoyed a leisurely coffee break in front of the TV. Meanwhile, a crisis was unfolding at the venue. Dad! Why isn't any relative here? What? That's impossible. Everyone said they'd attend. But nobody's here. Not even the politicians you talked about. Only a few of your friends from college are here. That's impossible. But that's what I was just told at the reception. Hey, Kyle. What's going on? Why are there only a few people on your side? Weren't there supposed to be over 100? I don't know. My dad is furious. He prepared business cards for the politicians and everything. Politicians? Why would there be any? None of my relatives are politicians. Are you kidding? Emily said she could invite politicians and CEOs. We told Madison's dad that big shots would be coming. Emily? Yeah. Emily said you could invite politicians and various company CEOs. So, thinking these big shots would come, I even told Madison's dad about it. Why would Emily say such a thing? But then, apart from the relatives, not a single politician showed up. How does that happen? This is a complete embarrassment for me. Okay, let's call Emily. Her? She's not even a parent. A dead tree still adds to the mountain's beauty. Better than nobody. But that's still not enough. Right. We prepared the best food thinking big shots would come. Adding one person won't make a difference. It's still a sad wedding in such a big venue. Maybe there's a mistake. Is the invitation date wrong? No, my relatives are here. Yes, let's secure at least one person. I'll call Emily. So he called me, telling me to come immediately. He ended the call before I could ask why, so I just thought, well, I might as well go, and left for the venue. Well, congratulations on your wedding. I greeted Madison in her wedding dress, quite insincerely. Hey! Why did you come in such a disgraceful outfit? Well, you said strangers shouldn't attend, so I came in casual clothes. Is there a mistake? We called you because nobody came, and you show up like this? You can't even be seated. I thought a dead tree would add to the mountain's beauty. Useless maid. You cut the call without saying anything, so what did you expect? Just get a dress and attend. I refuse. What? You were the ones who said not to attend. Strangers aren't allowed. This isn't the time for that. No relatives showed up. That's to be expected. I smiled as if it was only natural. Do you know something? Know something? I smiled, seeing their panic. Time to reveal the truth. Most of the 100 guests are my acquaintances. What? Did you think they were your relatives? Think about it. Your relatives are just a few people. Like your sister-in-law and brother-in-law. In contrast, I have quite a few relatives. Nieces and nephews, too. Indeed. I told my relatives not to come because they were strangers, as you said. Makes sense, right? You called me a stranger, despite thinking of you as family. That means all my relatives are strangers to you, so they wouldn't come. But even so, it's strange that my sister and brother didn't come. Not strange at all. If strangers can't attend, then even though your sister and brother are related by blood, their spouses are strangers, right? So, I asked them not to come if strangers weren't allowed. Then, both your sister and brother decided not to attend. I didn't hear anything about that. Of course, you didn't. After all, your sister and brother are on my side. Why would they be? They're my siblings. So what if they're your siblings? Have you ever done anything for them? You might have received help, but never offered any, right? What are you even saying? When they were in financial trouble, you just yelled, "I don't have any money." Wipe your own butt, and turned them away, right? Even though they were in deep trouble. That's just how it should be. You're a low-income earner, so you couldn't have helped them. Maybe that's why you reacted that way. But brushing them off, telling them to borrow from loan sharks, that must have hurt, even though they're your siblings. So, I lent them money instead of you. Then, they started consulting me directly whenever they had problems, bypassing you completely. That's why they refused to attend this reception. That's ridiculous. What about the politicians and CEOs? Those were my contacts, too. I was planning to invite them for my son's sake, but since they're not needed, I declined. After all, they're strangers to you. But what about the people from my son's company? They won't come either, no matter how long you wait. Why? Kyle's company and my work are connected. When they heard I wouldn't attend the reception and wedding, they said they wouldn't attend a ceremony for someone who'd do such a thing. Why would they say that? People talk, you know. It wasn't a secret, so it came out in conversation, starting with "it's Kyle's wedding, you know," and then actually. But why would everyone cancel on the day? This has never happened before. Did you plan this? Of course not. I didn't have to ask them, they just think of me on their own. Even so, why wouldn't everyone come? It's strange that even my uncles and aunts didn't show up. They all owe me favors, so it can't be helped. Why would they owe you? If what you're saying is true, then you must have considerable wealth. But you're just a part-timer. A part-timer like you couldn't possibly have the resources to help anyone. Do you really think a mere part-timer would work so late at night, or have early morning meetings? That's just what you assumed. I was never just a part-timer. But you were almost always at home. Exactly. If I wasn't at home, who would cook and clean for you? You thought of me as a maid, but I was working from home to do those tasks for you. Then what are you if not a part-timer? A CEO. A CEO! You should have said so sooner. Just a little rebellion. What would you have done if I'd said I was a CEO? Relied on my earnings, stopped working, and just played around while still expecting me to do all the household chores. I saw that coming, so I didn't say anything. I'll reconsider then. Call everyone back now. Oh dear, you were the ones who said no strangers. Even if you call them now, they have their own schedules. I don't care. If you call them, they'll come, right? If we don't do something, my son will be embarrassed. You caused this, so gather 100 people. While John was ranting, Madison's parents came over, wondering what was going on. Ah, Kyle. The seats are almost empty. Why did you prepare for 100 people? My relatives are saying they've never seen such an embarrassing wedding. If it was just family, you shouldn't have bragged about a big event. This is humiliating for me. I didn't mean for it to be like this. You must have known this would happen. You had RSVPs on the invitations. If that was the case, you should have increased our numbers. I suppose so. What about the politicians and big company CEOs? Everyone was envious, thinking such important people would attend, saying Madison was marrying someone impressive. This is utterly embarrassing. No, Mr. Smith, it's not like that. John, what do you mean it's not like that? How can you justify making us go through such embarrassment? Please don't be so angry. I can't let my daughter marry a man who lies like this. Forget this engagement. What a joke, saying 100 people would come. Calm down. It's not my son's fault this happened. It's all because of her. Her? Yes, this maid here caused a terrible mess. Your actions have troubled Madison's father, too. What are you going to do about this? This is Mrs. Emily Falcon, the CEO. Emily Falcon, the CEO? You mean Kyle's mother, a maid? Yes, I used to be Kyle's mother, but when they came to introduce themselves for the marriage, I was demoted to a maid. That's why you didn't show up at the meeting. Exactly. I'm a stranger, after all. What do you mean? How could you say such absurd things to a person of Mrs. Emily Falcon's character? I was surprised, too, but apparently, I'm not his mother according to my son. It's embarrassing, really. That's ridiculous. Can't be helped. It's normal for someone to not see a stepmother as their mother. No, that's unbelievable. To have Mrs. Emily Falcon as a mother is an incredible fortune. I said earlier that the engagement was off, but if it means getting close to you, please continue the marriage. You can continue, but I'm divorcing soon, so Kyle will be a stranger to me. What? Why a divorce? I'm a stranger, after all. Technically, I'm already a stranger, right? No, that can't be. You're joking, right? Madison called me a stranger and said strangers shouldn't attend. It's better if strangers are not around. Madison did? Today's wedding was supposed to invite many industry people, but I canceled them all at Madison's request. Hence all these empty seats. What? Well, it's fine. I just wanted to do what Madison wanted. Madison, did you really say she's a stranger? Ah. Well, Kyle and John said she's just a maid. What are you talking about in front of such a big shot? So, feel free to marry, but raising such a child means I can't trust you as a person, so I'll reconsider our contracts. What? No, that's troubling. Please rethink this. No, it's already decided. But then again, I'm to blame too for raising such a worthless son. Please, don't go through with the divorce, and let the kids' marriage continue. That way, we'll become relatives through marriage. So what? What's in it for me? It might be true, but if you cut off the contract, our company will be in big trouble. Madison. Apologize. Beg for Mrs. Emily Falcon's forgiveness. What? So what? Beg for forgiveness from her. If you don't, our company might go bankrupt. Oh no. Reluctantly, Madison apologized in front of everyone. Oh dear. No point in apologizing to a stranger like me. Mom, cheer up. Madison is apologizing. Oh, you're a stranger too, aren't you? I'm not your mother. Don't say that. If this marriage worked out, I'd be the next CEO of a small company. What? Madison's dad is a big company CEO, isn't he? What have you been looking at? Did you just believe Madison without checking? You can't become a CEO like that. What do you mean? Madison's dad works under my company. He's a small business owner, a small-scale CEO. But Madison is a CEO's daughter. She is a CEO's daughter. Technically, she's right. She's the daughter of a CEO. They have a maid at home. What? We don't have a maid. But Madison said. She's just calling her own mother a maid. She's so spoiled. She won't even pour water into a cup herself. I thought getting married would make her more responsible. No way. I thought she was a rich girl. I planned to join her dad's company and eventually become the CEO. It's still a CEO position, no matter how small the company. But without my company's contract, bankruptcy is inevitable. Mrs. Emily Falcon, please help us. Don't terminate the contract. It would be too cruel. I refuse. If you have any complaints, say them to your past self who raised your daughter. The wedding was subsequently cancelled. When the exhausted couple returned home, I had already moved out. John called me in a panic. Where are you? Anywhere is fine. It doesn't matter to a stranger like me. Don't talk like that. I apologize for everything. It's fine. Just sign the divorce papers I left on the table and submit them. No, I didn't mean to divorce. Saying you were a stranger just slipped out. Do you know the saying, it's no use crying over spilt milk? No matter what you say now, it can't be undone. No, we can start over. I love you. It's too late and creepy. Your words won't move my heart. But our son's marriage is off. The topic changes so suddenly. It's your fault. Why is it my fault? Without being declared a stranger, we would have had a happy wedding and honeymoon by now. I haven't done anything wrong. I just told everyone the truth. If you hadn't spoken, it wouldn't have come to this. Blaming others again? How cowardly. You only changed your mind about the divorce when you found out I'm a big company CEO, right? Just regretting letting go. That's not true. But if you're a big CEO, a successor is needed, right? Yes. Let Kyle join the company and eventually become the CEO. Kyle is CEO? Are you okay in the head? If he becomes CEO, the company would be ruined in no time. What are you talking about? He'll do it perfectly. What about his current job? He's already resigned. What? Why? His mother is a big CEO. There's no need to work under someone for a small salary. After the broken engagement, it would be uncomfortable at the company. What? So he ran away? No. It's to help with his mother's work. That's best for him. Even though we're divorcing? The divorce isn't final yet. He's still your son. Well, I've already set the lawyers on it. The divorce is certain. He said something, but I didn't listen and hung up, blocking him. Later, there was a dispute over the wedding cancellation fee, but the blame was put on John and Kyle by the lawyers. Unable to afford a lawyer, Kyle and his ex-husband had no choice but to accept their situation. They were faced with hefty cancellation fees and alimony for breaking off an engagement. Having lost his job, Kyle felt defeated and seemingly dumped all responsibilities on his ex. He constantly blamed my ex, saying things like, if I had married her, even with a small business, I could have been the boss. If I hadn't quit my job, life wouldn't be this hard. Isn't it all Dad's fault? Ultimately, jobless and heartbroken, Kyle became a shut-in. Apparently, my ex is supporting him, but their life is quite tough. Now over 50, with his already modest salary further reduced, Kyle only realized this after recent events. He contacted me via his smartphone, asking how he had managed to live until now. Revealing that my income had been supporting us, he begged for help. In the end, I blocked Kyle's number, cutting off all contact. He tried to apply for welfare but couldn't, so he sold his house and used the money for living expenses. However, selling the house meant he had nowhere to live, forcing him to move into a shabby apartment with drafts. At 57, my ex is juggling a day job and a night shift. Meanwhile, I moved to a luxury condo near my office, enjoying a peaceful daily life and a fulfilling business, living happily.